sonogram.
Good evening to one and all. So, like by 9:30 as our promise, we may start it. So, Parandaman sir, start பண்ணலாம் இல்லைங்களா? சார் பரந்தாமன் சார்
ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணலாம் பலா, ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணலாம்.
ஓகேங்க சார், ஃபைன் சார். So thank you so much. So it is a good practice that we would stick on to the timing and we'll go ahead with the subject. And going forward, everyone is requested to post their own subjects and when they are ready to conduct the classes. It's something like we are sharing our knowledge. So it's not that the person who is presenting has more knowledge on such things, but still we just want to convey the information so that we may share our thought process in learning such things for implementing it in our plant as well as for the future society. That is the importance of this particular program. So we are going to name ourselves as a certified energy managers. Going forward, when we write this examination and get the certificate, we would be accredited with it. But still, every day we have such works to be done in home as well as the nearby places. That is very much important of this particular program. So just to take up the previous day, just so as one day was there in between the previous class and the subject. So we will just summarize the points which was discussed earlier, but still I'm not going in depth into it, but still to make a point, types of energy audit was there. So it was preliminary energy audit, targeted energy audit, and detailed energy audit was listed. So in the preliminary energy audit, so the point was something like data collections and the scope for saving was the importance of this preliminary energy audit, and the targeted energy audit from the data, what can be done to the particular value which is having a higher what to say, like expenditure, or it is going to be the savings, energy saving opportunities, what is there. So which can be listed and we can target on particular subject or areas to analyze the energy flows and cost associated with it. It is called targeted energy audit. And for detailed energy audit, by the data we have the target and we are working on it, but still we need to have a detailed bill in order to make sure that it is economically viable, so that the audit may bring savings as well as better what to say, like productivity. So that is very much important for an energy audit. So the detailed energy audit is carried out in 3 phases. The phases are pre-audit phase, audit phase, and post-audit phase. That means to say, so wherever there is an opportunity to carry out this energy audit, we need to make sure that it is done with the pre-audit phase. And once the audit is done, so we need to scrutiny and we need to check out what is the procedure to change over such formulas. That is going to be the audited phase. And when such cases are okay, then we need to go ahead and implement this post-audit. So usually putting with an example, so we say that the energy pyramid need to be taken into account. So the first point is when there is any spillover or pilferage in that particular area, so we need to check out what is the plan of action to work on it. So when that is sitting on that particular problem, we can make a point that it is made with suggestions. Why can't we do such things? What, when, which, and how for that particular problem. And once it is okay, then we need to suggest the post-audit phase. So this is the betterment which has been done to the suggestions, and that is the post-audit phase. So we have these examples. So the flow of study and the strategical plannings were also discussed. So going forward, we were talking about the 10 steps for detailed energy audit. So plan of action, that is pre-audit phase, what is the procedure, and audit phase in the phase 2. So data gathering, process flow diagram, energy utility program. So what are all to be taken into account? So that was discussed. And preparing the flow chart means it is an easy thing that single line diagram could be the example of this data gathering and process flow. So surveys and monitoring is that whether that was working fine. So we would have some questionnaires in order to ensure that the process flow is working fine to gather the data. So that is the second step and third step, and the steps need to be carried out for the monitoring purposes is to maintain this energy conservation plan. So identification and development of energy conservation opportunities is something like identification and consolidation method, conceive, develop and refine ideas, review the previous ideas suggested by the unit personnel, review the previous ideas suggested by the energy auditor, if any, use brainstorming and value analysis techniques, contact vendors for new and efficient technologies. So examples are something like people say that go with a solar panel so that your energy bill will be reduced. So that is the suggestions always given. But why do we want to go to solar panel? That is not determined, means then that is an issue. So conservation is something like we need to improve the efficiency. So make a point that auditing is being done to the entire house or the building where the lighting load is separated with a line diagram. Then the heavy loads are separated in a separate lining. And then the third, what could be the efficiency improvement on such parameters? Like say, if incandescent lamp is there, so change it to LED bulbs so that it would be an opportunity to save the energy. Then going forward, we can also go with the distribution systems, earthing and other things are proper or not. So we need to have a benchmarking. So that is going to be there. And whenever we want to give suggestions, so change it, because you are doing energy audit, you need to make a change. So whatever may be the cost, you need to change with it. So if that is the suggestions, they would be killing us as well as the killing the technology as well. So we should not suggest such things. So we need to analyze the cost benefit analysis, assess technical feasibility, economic viability, and prioritization options for implementation. Select the most promising projects prioritized by low, medium, and long-term measures. It's something like whatever steps we suggest, it need to take care of such a system without disturbing the operation that need to be there. So it is not that today if you are doing the energy audit, we need to close down the entire thing and you need to replace, means that is so that is not the working formula, but we need to ensure that it is economically and the priorities are given in low, medium, and long term. So whenever we want to change the bulbs also, we need to say that step-by-step procedures need to be adhered. So reporting to and presentation to the top management. It's something like when we suggest something, we should convey it to the lower officer, and the middle management need to understand the importance of it, and the top management need to approve it. If at all, if it is not been approved, then there could be the problem. After in the midst of the implementation, then there could be a trouble. Why you started this project? Who ensured it? All such questions would come up. And so we need to ensure that it is being appraised to the top management with a highly valued data. So that is very much important. And the last step is something like implementation and follow-up. Assist and implement the energy conservation recommendations and measures and monitor the performance. It's the action plan, schedule for implementation, follow-up and pre-work review. It's something like if we can give an example that you have changed the LED bulbs in all the areas which is more than 8 hours. So say for example, we always wanted the Lakshmi or Saraswati to come into our house by 6 o'clock, means we would be switching on the light by 6 o'clock. By midnight, we may, if at all we are not going to sleep, we would switch it off, or else the next day morning only you would be switching off, means we need to have a lighting, means what kind of light is suggested. The outdoor lighting need to be a 0-watt bulb, or it could be it is not 0-watt. Normally we say that to be a 0 watts, but it would be consuming power. So that kind of lights is suggested. Or if it is going to be the illumination level for the street as well, means we need to plan it accordingly. If the street light is not there, we can have some higher wattage for the street light as well, because it could be for illumination of the people movement, as well as even a person who is not known to us. If he is crossing it, we may identify him. So like theft and other things also can be prevented because of auditing. So that is the stages that need to be implemented, and the periodic review need to be done in order to maintain that if we have made the changes, whether the energy bill or the fuel system, whatever suggestions we have given, that is working fine and cost effective, and the company has made some changes and the system is adhered by all the employees. That is very much important when doing this energy audit. So what are questions which can an energy auditor should ask? So some of the questions were, so what function does this system serve? How does this system serve its function? What's the energy consumption of the system? What are all the indications that the system is working properly? If the system is not working, how can it be restored to a good working conditions? How can the energy cost of the system can be reduced? Like always, we engineer need to make a prototype before getting into the actual system. We also need to have a suggestions how good it would be working fine. So if at all it's not working fine, so we need to restore it to the good working conditions, the previous condition. That means to say we need to take a snapshot of each and everything, and we also have to have a data which is going to give an information that whether it is in the normal condition, this is the steps that need to be adhered. If it is in the changes after post audit, what are all the changes that would be occurring, so that it would be easier to come to the first step. So these are all the steps that need to be adhered. So detailed energy audit, a typical industrial format. So like whenever we are doing in a report, the report need to carry such information. The energy audit team who has conducted, what are all his qualification and what is his experience, all need to be put up in the paper so that they may know who is the audit team working on such parameters. The executive summary of the scope and purpose. So it is very much important that whenever we write an information, it need to have a scope and it need to serve the purpose. So that is very much important. And the energy audit options and recommendations, because what are all the choices available and the recommendation that need to be adhered, which is mandatory and which can be followed. What are all the choices that can be left out, that also need to be given as the steps. So introduction about the plan. So where we are doing the project, that is very much important, because if it is going to be a steam power plant or steel power plant, or it could be even a rocket science program. So all such things need to be detailed, because an energy audit should ensure that it is going to give a better outcome. So a piece and peers or schemes that the government has announced for credibility as well. If an industry wants to do some energy audit, the MSME itself providing funds for doing such projects. So I'll give details of it at a later time. So, but why we need to give the details of the plant is something like, if we want to do the energy audit in a plant, we need to understand what are the opportunities to get the energy conservation plan. So that is very much important. General plan details and descriptions. So the entire plant operation need to be detailed as a descriptive manner, so that we can understand the flow diagrams of such a plant. So how things are done. So the coal is coming from the shipyard. The shipyard, it is transferred to the bunker and the coal yard, and the coal yard from coal yard bunker to grinder, and the grinder is going to grind it, and it is going to come to the that is boiler. After boiler, it is going to be the steam flow. So we need to segregate the circuits also, the steam circuit, fuel circuit, all such things need to be detailed in a descriptive manner. Components of production cost. Raw materials, energies, chemicals, manpower, overhead, and other charges need to be listed out as a cost factor, because material, machineries are the part of the industry. Means we need to ensure the cost of each and everything in the detailed manner, so that the component of production cost can be compared at a later time when we give some suggestions. That is the most important point we need to take care. So major energy uses and areas. So where it could consume more. So if boiler is the floor, so what is the capacity of the fuel that is going to be taken care? Means it's a normal thing. So it is going to be the firing which is going to be done. So if gun 1 and gun 2, gun 3, gun 4, all the 4 corners are going to be equally sharing, it means so the energy used there we need to ensure, means we need to point out where it is consuming more. So that is very much important. But for a tonnage, so it could be the 60 tons or 100 tons production means if it is going to be lower, so the quantum of fuel consumption may rise. And so what is the minimal limit and maximum limit can be achieved means we need to understand the energy usage and areas. That is the example that we need to take up. Production process description. So we also need to understand the production process. So if it is going to be a leather industry or the steel manufacturing industry, we need to understand the production process, how things are done, and the brief description of manufacturing process as well. So if it is going to be hydraulic conditions or hydraulic methodology is being used or electrification is used, all such descriptions need to be taken. Process flow diagram and major unit operations, that's what I said. Major raw material inputs, quantity and cost. So if say for example, if aluminum bars are coming and the aluminum bars, if it is molded and later the waste materials need to be dumped, and if the QC is failed, then it is to be put in the chest so that it is not again utilized. Means they would be having the chest which cannot be opened until the batch process is completed. Likewise, we need to understand the raw material inputs, quantity and cost, how, where, how and where, because ERP would be working fine there. So we need to understand such parameters too. Energy and utility descriptions need to be taken care, because the power utility, so we will be having a generator or we may be using energy from the utility. So all things need to be understood. So if it is going to be fuel system or the generator, inside the generator what fuel is being used. So maybe generator means it can be a solar generator, it can be a wind generator, or it can be a fuel generator. So like oil is being pumped in. So list of utilities that is available there. Brief description of each utility. Electricity, like electricity, steam, water, compressed air, chilled water, cooling water. All these are the utilities. So electricity means what is the unit that is going to be utilized. Everything need to be descriptively pointed out so that it have a good record of all such informations. When we go through, a layman need to understand such information. So that is the important. Detailed process flow diagram and energy material balance. Flow chart showing flow rate, temperature, pressures of all input output streams. Water balance for entire industry. So that need to be taken. That means to say that the seawater is pumped in for cooling purpose alone, means the raw water is prepared for such areas, means raw water, what is the source of raw water, how much quantum is being daily utilized, what is the purity rate, and where it is going to flow, and what is the capacity that is going to be stored in case of scarcity, what is the alternative that need to be done. All such parameters need to be listed out. Energy efficiency in utility and process system. Specific energy consumption need to be taken care. Boiler efficiency assessment need to be done with the test. Thermic fluid heater performance assessment. Furnace efficiency analysis. Cooling water system performance assessment, DG set. All these things to be done means this raises a question: what are all the instruments available to check it out, whether real-time instruments are available to check the assessment of performance. Means yes, lot of things are available. We need to ensure that all these tests are giving some result. Means we need to ensure that that is working fine. So we will go in depth into it, but I am just touching the points that are to be noted down at this point alone. So lighting system, energy conservation options and recommendation. List of options in terms of no cost, low cost, medium cost and high cost. Annual energy savings and payback. Implementation plan for energy saving measures and projects. Annexure is something like it is a list of instruments, list of vendors, and other technical details can be enlisted. We also have all sort of enlistment to be done. And these are all some equipments which are commonly utilized for measurements. So we would name each and everything. So according to the usage. So I'm just listed out the equipments which would be carrying out the process. Okay, so these are all some. This is real-time three-phase watt meter, so which can be utilized, and thermal and other process flow equipments are being listed here. Okay, fine. So identification of energy conservation factors and areas. Steps for conserving energy can be taken if we know the correct factors and areas to be studied and also details of fuels used. This is very much important in identifying where we can conserve energy. So the factors and areas to be identified: energy generation, energy distribution, energy usage by process, fuel substitution. So whether we can use CNG instead of oil means there is an opportunity for changeover. So that is the factor which need to be governing. So it have specific gravity or the chemical composition accordingly we can change it. Means we need to understand each and everything in this area, so where we can make the changeover. Technical and economic feasibility factors: technology availability, space, skilled manpower, reliability, service, impact of measure on safety, quality, production or process, maintenance requirements, and spares availability make the technical and economic feasibility. Say for example, if space is there, so we can make say for example, if the parking lot is there, so we want 100 acres of land for parking, means instead we will go for PLC based the what to say, like a parking system which is available commonly nowadays. All the hospitals and even CMDA has these parking facilities in these areas, where to say, like T Nagar and other crowded places, they have installed it. So this could be the space constraint. Means likewise, we also can have storage capacities accordingly. So we need not spend more on it. Skilled manpower. Instead of recruiting more people, we can have skilled manpower who has the efficiency as well as the skill set to perform the same work with the same capacity. The reliability. So reliability on each and every parameter: service, impact of measure, safety, quality, production process, maintenance requirements, and spares availability. Means it all determines the technology as well as the technical as well as the economic feasibility. These are all the factors which need to be noted down. So sample worksheet: when preparing the economic feasibility, we need to understand the name of the efficiency measures on investment. So equipment, civil works, instrumentations and auxiliaries in the area of investment, annual operating cost, cost of the capital, maintenance, manpower, energy, depreciation. Whenever we are about to start a company, we will be taking up such things. Means the same factor can be also utilized for energy efficiency measures. Annual savings: it is about the thermal saving, electrical saving, raw material waste disposals. That's what we were talking about. 57% of plant load factor or 98% plant load factor. So commonly used formulas is something like net savings per year. Annual savings minus annual operating cost would give the net savings. Payback period in months is investment or net savings per year into 12. So it would give the payback for months. So that's what, whenever you put a solar generator, like we say, the normal generation is going to be replaced by solar generation. What could be the payback period? Whether we are giving subsidy or not, whether the subsidy is going to help out in completing the payback period. All these questions would arise the same way. The economic and feasibility, technical feasibility need to be understood, whether we need to go with bifacial solar, all such things need to be understood. So these are all the points which need to be taken care. Going forward, energy cost in Indian scenario. So the Indian scenario has a lot of information. So like common fuels, the fuel oil systems, low sulfur, heavy stock, LSHS, light diesel oil, LDO, liquefied petroleum gas, coal, lignite, all these are common fuels which is available. So depending on the cost factor and the availability of such things, say for example, Ukraine war is there and Ukraine-Russian war is going on. What is the cost of the fuel price? Means it all started only for fight with the oil only, but going forward, the fuel would be used for even burning the fuel in the tracks. So railway cannot be running in the cold. So that's why they use it for heating up the tracks itself. So they spend a lot on this fuel. So we also need to understand whether we need to go with the low sulfur heavy stock oil or low diesel oil, which may ruin the system. So where it could be used means we need to go with the LPG. Means LPG is the best choice, means go with LPG. If it is CNG, we need to go with CNG. So the opportunities need to be taken and we need to understand the energy cost. So about the Indian scenario, So like we always go with LSHS or LDO, means when initiating the coal to be fired, we would go for LSHS or LDO according to the startup. And liquid petroleum gas is not normally utilized here in thermal power plant, but it may be used in gas power plants according to the need, maybe the alternative. Coal and lignite wood. So we thought of going for biomass, means now even this proliferous what to say, Karuvela Maram. So now we thought that it was a menace, but a 30 megawatt power plant is running in Tamil Nadu because of taking such things. So that is the opportunity. We always say that 3 seasons are there in Tamil Nadu, hot, hotter, and hottest. But the solar seems to be the highest value in Tamil Nadu, which is an important factor for fuel as well. So we need to take up such points also. Fuel cost inputs and factors. Price at source, transport charge, type of transport, quality of fuel, contaminations, moisture, energy content, that is GCV value need to be taken care of. So whenever we purchase it, stocking it would be also a problem, means the maintenance cost may also increase. The safety measures also need to be taken care when we store it. So purchase of such a large quantum and storage may be a trouble, and it may also lead to lot of safety issues. We need to take care of such things. Power cost in India, electricity cost vary substantially, not only from state to state, but also from city to city, and also within consumer to consumer through power, though power does the same work everywhere. So that is the power cost. The reason means it is the tariff structure. So that was given as the energy cost in Indian scenario. We go in depth into it. So understanding energy cost and industrial energy bill summary would be looking at this thing. So electricity, fuel, oil, or coal. So the summarizing point is something like it is a sample given. So as Sir was talking about the 1 kilowatt equivalent is the unit. So the conversion unit was taken as 1 kilowatt hour equal to 860 kilocalories per kilowatt hour. So that is 0.0036 gigajoules. So that is like heavy fuel oil. So 10,000 kilocalories per liter, and coal calorific value GC 4,000 kilocalories per kg. So these are all the common standards that is done. Why the standards need to be taken care of? It is a benchmarking. According to the benchmark, we need to take care of such parameters. Why we need to take up so why we need to know, take care of such things means benchmarking can be a useful tool for understanding energy consumption patterns in the industrial sector, and also to take requisite measures for improving energy efficiency. That is the tool, because what is the benchmark for addressing means once we have taken a photo snapshot, photograph was a very big thing in those earlier days. Nowadays every individual is taking selfie, and normally the people are taking selfie at different stages, means daily morning itself they are taking this much selfie, because benchmarking is very much important. So it's a common thing, but benchmarking can be an useful tool for understanding energy consumption patterns in the industrial sector, and also to request measures for improving energy efficiency. Means something like that industry is paying that leather, maybe 10 leather industry working in the same area. If they say that one industry is paying only 2,000 rupees for their entire production, and the other unit pays 2,500, means what is the benchmark that need to be taken care? So another maybe 3,000. Accordingly, they may work, means 2,500 would be the benchmark, or 2,000 may be the benchmark, or 3,000 may be the benchmark. Means on energy conservation patterns, what is the best thing that they are delivering? So that need to be taken care. The factors involved is something like the scale of operation, vintage of the technology, raw material specifications and quality, product specifications and quality. This was discussed in the first day itself, whether the sale of LED, which is on the roadside, and the sale of branded LED lamps. So like that is the benchmarking that we need to take care. So that is one particular example for benchmarking. It is a part of energy auditing only. Benchmarking for energy performance, internal benchmarking and external benchmarking. Historical and trend analysis gives the internal benchmarking. External benchmarking is across similar industries. That is the one example I just gave. So historical and trend analysis is mean North Chennai thermal power plant was generating power for entire 365 days is a benchmark, means we have broken the record by 366 days or 450 days, means then the benchmark is historical and trend analysis. That is the internal benchmarking. External benchmarking is the same 210 megawatt and for the entire country, how much days it has continuously running according to these conditions. Scale of operation, vintage of technology, raw material specifications and quality, product specifications and quality. So this is how the benchmark is going to be done. The scale of operation, vintage of technology, raw material specification and quality. So that need to be taken care. So benchmarking for energy performance. Quantification of fixed and variable energy consumption trends with production levels. So because we need to quantify the fixed and variable energy consumption. So by morning that may be different, by evening that may be different, because during the peak hours the voltage level may be varying, and so the production cost may be varying, and off peak hours it would be the normal voltage or the level of voltage which could be lesser, that is nominal, and so that production cost may vary accordingly. So this is one common example, but it may vary according to the level and performance of the employees as well. So the pattern need to be taken for every individual production levels. So that's where the ERP and photocopying method, all such parameters are taken for quality checking. So comparison of industrial energy performance with respect to various production level, the capacity utilization. So that is where we need to compare it. Identification of best practices based on external benchmarking data. So that is the best practice. Whenever we train people, we say that the best practice is something like gathering data and presenting, means it is the individual who present it in a different way that could be taken as the best practice. Scope and margin available for energy consumption and cost reduction. So scope and margin. So because if the energy consumption and cost reduction means, we can't say that switch off the power plant and sit so that your margin level would be higher, means that is not the scope that we have given. So how good it can be running for 365 days with the same margin and fuel consumption, that need to be taken care. So basis for monitoring and target setting exercise also need to be taken into benchmarking. So production or equipment related benchmarking parameters is gross production related and equipment and utility related. So example is that kilowatt hour per metric ton clinker or cement produced cement plant, or kilowatt hour per metric ton kilocalories per kilogram paper produced in paper plant. So that is one example of gross production related. And equipment or utility related, kilowatt hour per ton of refrigeration on air conditioning HVAC plant, kilowatt hour per liter in a diesel power generation power plant. So this is the utility related benchmarking. So we need to take care of such things on a larger scale. So that's where benchmarking is often being done. So measuring energy performance, production factor is equal to current new year production by reference year production. So that is the production factor. Reference year equivalent energy use. The reference year energy equivalent energy use is the energy that would have been used to produce the current year's production output. It may be same or it may be higher or lesser depending on the value. The reference year equivalent is obtained by multiplying the reference year energy used by the production factor. So these are all would be with an example. So we would be working on with an example. So how things need to be calculated and why we need to calculate it for measuring energy performance. So we can have an example with a math value so that it would be easier to understand. So these are all the formulas used for performance. Plant energy performance is the improvement or deterioration from the reference year. It is the measures of plant energy progress. So when we want to learn the progress, we need to understand the production factor, how good it was working fine the previous year, how bad it is working in the current year, why the production has lost because of the value. So whether the post audit has given some information on increasing the productivity, all such questions need to be taken. So maximizing system efficiency, some of the measures are replace the pumps, fans, air compressors, refrigeration compressor, boiler, furnace, heaters, and other energy conservation equipments wherever significant energy efficiency margin exists. Eliminate steam leakages by trap improvements, maximize condensate recovery, adopt combustion control for maximizing combustion efficiency. All these things is something like whenever a compressor, maybe HVAC systems, a lot of compressor would be working on. So we need to check individually which compressor, whenever the AC is switched on, which compressor is using lesser current value. So per hour basis, we can calculate and we can understand the importance of it. And we can also know the leakages. So like we also need to know where the loss is occurring. So by testing the steam leakages, so wherever leakages is occurring, so say for example, so steam may be leaking in boiler tubes, or it may be in the main line, or it may be the 6 attar or 11 attar pressure, wherever the pressure gauges are available. So there may be leakages. We need to understand the improvement methodologies to work on it. And the condensate recovery, it is something like we have a lot of condensate. So wherever we are going to lose the heat, so heat circuit is the main thing for boilers. Means we may wantedly cooling it for some purpose. Say for example, a hot well is an area where the condensate need to be there. Means how good the condensate is working fine. So how much heat is being lost? So what is the specific heat that is lost, or latent heat that is been governed by the heat cycle? So all need to be understood, and we need to work on maximizing the condensate recovery. And we also would be working on fossil fuels, means the fuel, so preheaters and the chute blowers, where the lot of dust would be accumulated. So how good it would be working fine. So we need to think about it, and we need to work on the combustion cycle. So it is a maximum efficiency improvement. Matching energy usage to the requirement. The mismatch between the equipment capacity and user requirements often leads to inefficiencies due to part load operation, wastages, etc. It is thus essential that proper energy matching studies are carried out an action plan. So say for example, in our home itself, we would think that one guy is getting coming from US, and he want to get on mixie. Means whether that mixie would be working fine in India. Means that may be an US mixie which would be having 110 volt. For example, we are purchasing AC for a room, and we would say that 1+1 offer. If you buy AC, we would be giving 5,000 rupees worth Sony earbuds. That is an example given in advertisements. We would be buying 1.510 for a one room, that is a normal room. Whenever we switch it on, it would be cooling immediately, and we do not know what to work on it. We'll have all companies and other things working fine, but the AC would be consuming more. It is 1.510. Normally, it may not work for a small room. So it would be for a large hall, but you may think that the free usage has brought to our house. It may be very efficient. That's why the mismatch between the equipment capacity and the user requirement often leads to inefficiency due to part load operations, wastages, etc. That is, examples is eliminate throttling, eliminate damper operation, fan recessing for better efficiency, moderation of chilled water temperature for process chilling needs. All these are operational in industry. So we need to make what are all the examples that is available. And optimizing energy input requirement, in order to ensure that the energy given to the system is being put to optimal use, site specific measures and checks should be carried out regularly. So shuffling of compressor to match needs, periodic review of insulation thickness, identify potential for heat exchanger networking and process integration. This is a common example like that of the earlier thing. And fuel and energy substitutions. Key steps towards conservation is fuel substitutions. So replacement of coal by coconut shells, rice husk, etc. In case of heat remodeling. So whenever we never tasted these coconut shells and rice husk, because people working in biomass areas may know much about these coconut shells and rice husk, but TNRC doesn't recommend doing it, rice husk and coconut shells. But there is a case running behind it. But fuel substitutions made value that heat retaining heat for smaller boilers may be the best options in getting into coconut shells and rice husk. Replacement of LDO by LSHS. So light diesel oil may be the alternate for LSHS, but light diesel oil may be a costly thing, or depending on the usage, a smaller quantum may be retaining a better calorific value, and heat means it is the fuel substitution for that particular system. So energy substitution, replacement of electric heaters by steam heaters. So wherever there is a need, there could be the steam heaters can be replaced by electric heaters. Nowadays, the cotton industry or the clothing industry, so where the production is there, so it has been all replaced with electric heaters only, not the steam heaters. Replacement of steam based hot water by solar systems. Ooty, Kodaikanal alone having these solar systems. Nowadays, all the hotels have replaced it, and now it is a change over. It is the energy substitution that has been done. So these are all some examples. So going forward, I just wanted to give crispy informations on energy conservation in India. In India, government has passed energy conservation bill in 2001 for better utilization of energy and conservation of the same. By this act, it is mandatory for energy intensive sector to get their energy audit conducted by energy auditor. So, which is very much important. So, whoever can suggest it cannot become an energy auditor. Those people who have completed this energy auditor examination can alone be the energy auditor. Bureau of Energy Efficiency. This body keeps watch on energy consumption patterns, develops norms for appliances, etc. Star ratings. BE has also initiated star rating system for electrical appliances. Example, CFLs, geysers, refrigerator, etc. are some examples. This started only in 2000. We would have detailed information about 2001 electricity bed at a later time. So this is the data in India. So about 70% of India's energy generation capacity is from fossil fuels. This is the earlier information. So updated information has been given by SAR. So with the coal accounting for 40% of India's total energy consumption, followed by crude oil and natural gas at 24% and 6% respectively. By 2030, India's dependence on energy imports is expected to exceed 53% of the country's total consumption. In 2009-10, the country imported 159.26 million tons of crude oil, which amounted to 80% of its domestic crude oil consumption, 31% of oil imports. Why I'm talking about oil imports is most of the oil imports attract economical value. Though whenever this oil value is going to rise or lower, the dollar value is going to rise or lower. According to the dollar value, the economic value of even a penny is going to rate accordingly. So why the energy conservation is most important means it is the country's growth we need to understand. So recycling is an excellent way of saving energy and conserving the environment. One recycled tin would save enough energy to power a television for 3 hours. One recycled glass bottle would save enough energy to power a computer to 25 minutes. One recycled plastic bottle would save enough energy to power a 60-watt light bulb for 3 hours. 70% of lesser energy is required to recycle paper compared with making it from raw materials. These are all some informations. The slogan is always good hold. So conservation of energy at various levels. So energy conservation can be done at different levels. One is household level, second is community level, third is industrial places, and the fourth is in transportation sector. So always we incur more loss on transportation sector, carrying the fuel and transporting air from one place to another. So it could be the alternative. That's why we go for electricity as the universal means. Instead of transporting the fuels, we make it as a universal source where everything is possible. So these are all some examples. So we were talking about the energy management and the economic factor. So economic factor is very much important. So in that aspects, benefit of good energy management is increases operational effectiveness and mission accomplishment, reduces life cycle cost, reduces logical footprints, optimizes resource usage, enhances force protection, saves life, reduces the need for resupply convoys, increases operational resilience, provides energy security, enables risk management, mitigation, reduces negative environment impact. All these things are information that you would be taking care. Why there is a star rating. So we'd have much more things at a later time. So as promised, the time is 10:15. So let's have our discussion. So Yesterday's point was not taken care today, so that is about the examples and the questionnaires that need to be taken care. So time permits, I would complete it in the next meeting. So we'll go ahead with the questionnaires. Are we connected?
ஜேபி சார், இந்த 30 மெகாவாட் பிளான்ட் தமிழ்நாட்டுல இருக்குன்னீங்கல்ல, அந்த இதுல இருந்து யூஸ் பண்றாங்கன்ட்டு.
ராம்நாட்ல இருக்குங்க சார்.
ராம்நாடா?
ஆமாங்க சார்.
பிரைவேட் பிளான்ட்டா?
பிரைவேட் பிளான்ட்.
நேம் சார்?
நேம் நான் சரியா பார்த்துட்டு சொல்றேங்க சார். நான் சரியா அட்ரஸோட அனுப்பிச்சு தரேன்.
ஓகே ஓகே.
அது மட்டும் இல்ல, அது மாதிரி 2-3 ப்ராஜெக்டும் ஒர்க் ஆகுது.
அது என்ன, அந்த அது அதோட பிளஸ் அடிஷனலா யூஸ் பண்றாங்க அப்படி?
ஆமா, ரைஸ் ஹஸ்க் அப்படின்னு சொன்னேன் இல்லைங்களா, ரைஸ் ஹஸ்க், கோகனட் இதெல்லாம் வச்சுட்டு தனியாவே யூனிட் ரன் பண்றாங்க, ப்ரொடக்ஷனுக்கு யூஸ் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காங்க. சோ அதுல நிறைய ப்ராஜெக்ட்ஸும் இருக்கு அதுலயே.
ஓகே 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 சார், சரி பாப்போம்.
நான் அந்த டீடைல்ஸ் எல்லாம் உங்களுக்கு செப்பரேட்டா ஷேர் பண்றேன் சார். நானு அதுவும் இருக்கு.
ஓகே ஓகே சார், ஜஸ்ட் ஒரு ஐடியாவுக்கு தான் எப்படி பண்றாங்க.
கட்டாயமா சார். ஏன்னா பயோமாஸ்க்கு சத்தாத்னு ஒரு ஸ்கீமே இருக்கு. சோ சத்தாத் ஸ்கீம்ல வந்து 5 கோடி ரூபாய் டைரக்டாவே கவர்மெண்ட் கொடுத்தது இன்ஸ்டாலேஷன் கமிஷனுக்கு. வெட்டியா வச்சிருக்க லேண்ட்ல எதெல்லாம் போட்டு எரிக்கிறத பதில் இன்சினரேஷன் பிளான்ட் க்ளோஸ் பண்ணிட்டு யூ கேன் கோ வித் அன் ஆல்டர்னேட்டிவ் பயோஃபியல் அப்படின்றது. பயோஃபியல் வந்து என்ஜி வந்து எப்படி இருக்குன்னா சிபிஜியா மாறி இருக்கு, கம்ப்ரஸ்டு பயோகேஸ் அப்படின்றது. சிஎன்ஜிக்கும் கம்ப்ரஸ்டு பயோகேஸ்க்கும் 6 வித்தியாசம் பெருசா ஒண்ணும் கிடையாது. 1 ஆட்டா ப்ரெஷர்ல இருக்கிறது வந்து 250 ஆட்டா ப்ரெஷருக்கு கம்ப்ரஸ் பண்ணிட்டோம்னா சிபிஜியை வந்து சிஎன்ஜியா மாத்திர முடியும். அதுதான் இப்போ கேஸ் யூட்டிலிட்டி மாறி இருக்கு. பெஞ்ச்மார்க் காஸ்ட் 49 இருந்துச்சு, இப்போ இட் இஸ் 96 rupees as such. ஆட்டோவுக்கு ஃபில் பண்றதெல்லாம் அதை பத்தியும் டீடைல் இருக்கு. போஸ்ட் யூ லேட்டர்.
ஓகே ஓகே சார். இந்த எம்ஹெச்டி கான்செப்ட் என்னன்னா ஸ்டடி லெவல்ல தான் இருக்குங்களா, எங்கேயாவது இம்ப்ளிமெண்ட் பண்ணிருக்காங்களா?
எதுங்க சார்?
எம்ஹெச்டி, மேக்னெட்டோ ஹைட்ரோடைனமிக் ஜெனரேட்டர்.
இல்லைங்க சார், அது தியரிட்டிக்கல் வியூல தான் இருக்காது.
இன்னும் பிராக்டிக்கல் இது வரல.
ஃப்ளை வீல் கான்செப்ட் மாதிரி தான் அதுவும் இருக்கு. அதாவது தியரிட்டிக்கல் வியூல நிறையவே இருக்கு. அது மாதிரி ஆல்டர்னேட் எனர்ஜி சோர்சஸ்ன்னு சொல்லிட்டு ரெடி பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காங்க. இப்போ உங்களுக்கு எல்லாருக்கும் அன்னைக்கு போட்டிருந்தாரு இல்லைங்களா சாரு, வெல்கம் டு டான்ஜெட்கோ எக்ஸிபிஷன் சொல்லிட்டு. அதுல வந்து ஒரு சிலது எக்ஸிபிட் பண்றதுக்கு ஒரு சிஸ்டமும் வச்சிருக்காங்க, சின்ன சின்னதா ஒவ்வொரு இதுவும். இப்போ அந்த டிபார்ட்மெண்ட் எல்லாம் இன்னும் டெப்தா இத பத்தி ஒர்க் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காங்க.
ஓகே ஓகே, ஃபைன்.
சும்மா அந்த மாதிரி ஜெனரல் டிஸ்கஷன் வச்சு ஆர்வமாவே இருக்கும் சார். மத்தவங்களும் கேள்வி கேட்கலாம். மத்தவங்கள யாரு நாளை கிளாஸுக்கு ரெடியா இருக்காங்க அப்படின்றதையும் போஸ்ட் பண்ணணும்னு சொல்லியிருந்தோம். ஷெட்யூல் வந்து இப்ப வந்திருக்கவங்க அட்ரஸ் நான் எடுத்து அப்படியே அனுப்பிச்சு விடுறேன் சார். ஸோ தட் அவங்க அந்த எக்ஸல் ஷீட்டை ஃபில்அப் பண்ணி நான் இந்த சப்ஜெக்ட் நான் தெளிவா எடுக்கிறேன் அப்படின்றத விட நான் எடுக்கிறேன்னு மட்டும் போட்டா போதும். இந்த சப்ஜெக்ட் தெளிவா எடுக்கிறது இதெல்லாம் நமக்கு முக்கியம் இல்ல. ஒரு ஆர்வத்தை நம்ம முழுசா படிக்கிறதுக்கான ஆப்ஷன்ஸ் கொஞ்சம் ஈஸ் ஆஃப் டூயிங் பிசினஸ், அவ்வளவுதான். நம்ம வந்து ஒரு ப்ரிலிம்ஸ் தெரிஞ்சுக்கிட்டோம்னா அதை பொறுத்து நம்ம வந்து இன்டெப்தா படிக்கலாம். அதுதான் இதோட நோக்கமே. இதை இன்னும் எம்பசைஸ் பண்றதுக்கு ஆல்டர்னேட் பண்ணிட்டே இருக்கோம். பட் தோஸ் பீப்புள் ஹூ ஆர் கனெக்டட், அதுல குரூப்ல பாத்தீங்கன்னா 100 பேர் தாண்டிருச்சு. ஆனா டெய்லி வரவங்க வந்து 12ல இருந்து 15 பேர் வரோம் அப்படின்றது வந்து ஆர்வமா இருக்கக்கூடியவங்கள இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் அதிகப்படுத்துறதுக்கான ஆப்ஷன்ஸ் இருக்கும் அப்படின்னு நம்ம அதை கரெக்டா செஞ்சுக்கிடலாம் அப்படின்றது தான் பாக்குறது. So suggestions and posting to improve the attendance is very much important. Okay, if at all nothing is there, we can close for the day. So we'll meet up by tomorrow. Tomorrow's class, Parandaman sir.
Yes, sir.
Tomorrow's class, நீங்க எடுக்கிறீங்க.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Fine, sir. So மத்தவங்களும் ஆர்வமானோன்னா let us have entertainment on such things. ஸோ ஒரே மாதிரி இல்லாம வெவ்வேறு வித கிளாஸஸ் ஒரே சப்ஜெக்ட் நான் இதே கிளாஸே எடுக்கிறது அப்படின்னு நினைச்சாலும் இட் இஸ் வெல் அண்ட் குட் தட் வி மே get in a different perspective. The same subject emphasized on different words and different parameters. மேட்டர் வந்து ஒன்னா தான் இருக்கும், ஆனா சொல்றவங்க சொல்லும் போது அது கொஞ்சம் வித்தியாசப்படும்ன்றதுனால இது வந்து இந்த எனர்ஜி மேனேஜ்மெண்ட் அண்ட் ஆடிட்ன்றது ஜென்ரலா உள்ளது. நான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் டே கிளாஸ்க்காக ஜென்ரலா எடுக்கணும்னு நினைச்சது. இது வந்து என்டையர் சப்ஜெக்டையும் கவர் பண்ணது. இது எனர்ஜி ஆடிட் எப்படி பண்றது, இததான் சுத்தி சுத்தி வரப்போறோம் இனிமேட்டு. அதோட ஸ்கெலிட்டன் தான் இது ஆக்சுவலா. So we'll go in depth into it. Everyone can take up such subjects. அதே சப்ஜெக்ட ஒரு ஏரியா எடுத்துட்டு you can implement it. ஆனந்த், உங்க கிளாஸ் எப்ப ஆனந்த்?
சார் நான் ப்ரிப்பேர் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கேன் சார். அதான் இந்த ஒரு 2 days நெல்லூர் போயிட்டு இன்னைக்கு வந்து ஃபுல்லா இந்த இதுக்காக போயிட்டேன், வேஜிடேஷன் டாக்ஸ்க்கு. ஸோ எனக்கு ஒரு மேபி ஒரு 2 days டைம் தான். நான் வந்து இந்த வீக்ல ஏதாவது ஒரு நாள் மேபி நான் இதுல கூட இந்த அடுத்த இதுல எடுக்கணும் கூட எடுக்கிறேன். இந்த எனர்ஜி சினரோ இல்லாம அடுத்த தெர்மல் யூட்டிலைசேஷன் இல்லையா, அதுல கூட என்ன அது கொஞ்சம்
நீங்க சொல்றத பொறுத்து டேட்டா ஃபைனலைஸ் பண்ணிக்கலாம், அவ்வளவுதான்.
ஓகே சார், ஓகே, ஷூர். என்ன சிறப்பு இது என்ன சப்ஜெக்ட் எடுக்கறேன்னு உங்களுக்கு கன்ஃபார்ம் பண்ணி சொல்லிடுறேன்.
அதுதான், அது மட்டும் சொல்லிட்டீங்கன்னா உங்கள மாதிரி ஒரு 4 பேர் இருப்பாங்க, அவங்க கண்டிப்பா ஆட் பண்ணிக்கலாம். அதுக்காக
ஓகே சார், ஷூர் ஷூர் ஷூர்.
ஓகே அண்ணா,
ஓகே சார்.
முத்துகிருஷ்ணன் சார், ஹரிகிருஷ்ணன் சார், உங்க சப்ஜெக்டே சொல்லிட்டீங்கன்னா கரெக்டா இருக்கும். இன்னும் ஒரு 10 minutes இருக்கு. ஸோ இருந்தா அதை பத்தி பேசலாம், இல்ல வில் வைண்ட் அப் மீன்ஸ் வி கேன் வைண்ட் அப். இதுக்குரிய ப்ராப்ளம்ஸ், இதோட கொஸ்டினர்ஸ் நீங்க உங்களுக்கு கேள்வியா வச்சிருந்தீங்கன்னா கூட அதையே கேட்கலாம். ஸோ ப்ராப்ளம்ஸ் அண்ட் கொஸ்டினர்ஸ் எப்படி ஒர்க் அவுட் பண்றது, என்ன ஏது அப்படின்றது கூட யூ கேன் த்ரோ லைட் ஆன் சச் ஏரியாஸ். ஸோ வில் ஹாவ் ஜெனரல் டிஸ்கஷன்ஸ் if at all we have something to talk on it. Okay, so everyone is tired about it. Okay, thank you so much. And
sir,
we'll yes ma'am.
Yeah sir, I'm Mary and I'll be handling the basic concepts of thermodynamics day after tomorrow.
Very great ma'am, so I really appreciate. You are from, can you introduce yourself ma'am?
Sir, I'm Hyacinth Diana Sagai Mary, assistant engineer in Thermal Training Institute, working under Parandaman sir.
Very great man, happy to be the volunteer here, so hats off to you.
Thank
so
you,
and you can also pull some more people on this area ma'am, if at all.
Yeah sure, yeah sure sir.
Very great ma'am, so nice
She's
to see you.
She's a doctorate in solar energy.
Very great ma'am. So we'll meet up Mary ma'am, so like we are more interested on it. I'm working in that area only, so that
Yes,
we'll stay connected ma'am.
Actually in 11th I'll be just dealing out the basic skeleton of thermodynamics sir.
That
Maybe
doesn't matter ma'am, so you need not reveal any such things. You are a volunteer, you have come up with your own topic, so
yes,
you are the boss in that area.
Okay, fine.
Very great
Okay sir, thank you.
Thank you ma'am. Other people can also come up with their own topics, so that if at all there is no struggle for your own scheduled time. Because if everyone is rushing up, you may miss out the timing. So I request people to come up early as possible, and you can post it in the group itself, nothing to worry about. So thank you so much for your time. So every day we will stick on with the timings. Thank you. Good night.